Hey everyone, welcome to Sweetcast. I'm Clint. We need to talk about Rob Liefeld. Man, he has been making some SJWs really upset today with his comments on the whole Russia investigation, Donald Trump, and Michael Avenatti, the creepy porn lawyer himself. This is just one tweet. Creep of creeps. It has been really interesting to see. I haven't followed Rob Liefeld a lot, but now I'm going to follow him a little bit more closely. He had a string of interesting tweets today, but I just want to remind you that my comic book Downcast is coming out in 1 week on Indiegogo. This is a story about blue-collar brother and sister duo. Their father is in prison, and they live in a floating city. They get the chance, because of a failed government coup, they can now control gravity. So they have the opportunity to control gravity to basically threaten the city to get their father out of prison, but they can't mess around too much, because if they don't return the power back to the city, the whole thing is going to come tumbling down. It's a really, really cool story and really excited to share it with you. Okay, so Rob Liefeld, I looked him up a little bit, just some of his history. I mean, recent history we're talking. This was 2018, February 6, 2018. And I wanted to find out what exactly his opinions are on Comicsgate, because I hadn't heard a lot about that. But it sounds like he is, he's not hitching his wagon to anybody. And really specifically here, he was responding to this guy, Let's Go AO, who seemed pretty upset with Ethan Van Sciver. And so Rob Liefeld responded, "Daryl, I have read about your situation. I'm sorry you have been harassed in any way. You have my support." And obviously, if you look into some of the specifics with this guy, we're actually looking at some tweets that date back to when Ethan was first accused of being a Nazi, which is, objectively speaking, it's ridiculous. And so it's no mistake. You call someone a Nazi when they're not a Nazi. It seems silly. So this is from the Bleeding Fool, and they're gonna, of course, make fun of Rob Liefeld's art. And I have to admit, I've never been a Rob Liefeld fan. I'm a little surprised to see that there are actually a lot of Rob Liefeld fans. I mean, I'm just speaking specifically about his art. It's just never really appealed to me. But to each their own. However, more recently, things have been getting really interesting. It seems like if you let even your strongest critics, you let them sort of sit about in the stew of SJWism on Twitter, and eventually they're going to get annoyed with it. They're going to sort of push back against that kind of stuff, because let's face it, it is pretty irritating. So he made this statement: "Independent voter, just as shocked as at the results of reports as I was Trump's victory at the polls. Those of us in the middle need to be heard as well. You can't start dragging everyone because the results aren't what you want. Geez." Now, he's specifically talking about the Robert Mueller hearing, and basically the whole Trump thing was nothing. The Trump-Russia thing, there was no evidence to support it. So wherever this is coming from, and let's face it, it's been the media. A lot of people have been really upset over it. He actually even has talked about, Rob Liefeld here, has talked about Trump derangement syndrome, which was really interesting. So here's just one response to him: "Yes, you are either racist or against racism. There is no middle ground. When you try to be in the middle, you are actually on the side of racism." This is exactly the kind of language that Antifa people use, right? If you're not with them, you're against them. You have to have some kind of appreciation that there are multiple points of view between being racist and being, by any means necessary, destroy anybody that remotely resembles racism. And this is a really extreme statement to say, if you're in the middle, you're on their side. This is really silly. I think it's perfectly fine for, slightly more moderate people to have an opinion. But of course, that's just not good enough in this case. So Rob responds, "No, this is an awful, horrible take. Tolerance has nothing to do with extremism. We won't interact again." I always found this interesting. I did see a few of his tweets where he'll notify people that he's going to be blocking them, or he's never going to talk to them again in a tweet. You could just not interact again. I mean, I don't know why you have to announce it, but whatever. And yeah, here down here this is the best one. Orange Man, Bad Rob. Yep, that's exactly what's going on here. See, so he's trying to take a really centrist, independent voter stance, as he had said before. He says, I think political parties are lame, by the way. Period. I highly recommend letting go of your hardcore political affiliations. Everything becomes much more entertaining. And as you can see, he's just building up more and more steam. A lot of the comments now at this point are just getting, they're friendly, I guess you could say. But this is really making people upset, especially because he mentioned Trump, and not just Trump in and of himself, but he's basically speaking against Trump's enemies, which is totally unacceptable for the leftist mobs that are running the internet right now. Here's another one. Watching talking heads on CNN and MSNBC this afternoon is a hoot. These people are going out of their minds. Chuck Todd is more gibberish than ever before. And this is pretty funny. It makes me realize how little cable news I watch. I don't have cable, but I'm usually able to catch clips of it on the internet. I don't even do that anymore. It's like, really, the medium is totally dying. Regardless, it's really, really cool to see that more people are waking up to the craziness that's going around. And I think wherever they find it, wherever Rob Liefeld is able to spot this insanity that's going on and call it out, especially if he's a self-proclaimed centrist and independent, I think that's good for more people who are, in somewhere in the middle, which I think is probably most people. They're not entirely to one extreme or the other. It's nice to see people like that calling out craziness. Now, I wish he would do the same with the comics industry. I don't know, maybe he has in the past, but it doesn't seem like he really has been super vocal about it. So I'm really interested to see where this goes. I can't imagine that people are going to be very happy about this, but we'll take what we can get. Thank you very much. I am interested to hear your thoughts in Rob Liefeld. Am I wrong on his take about his artwork? On my take, rather, about his artwork? Let me know. And don't forget to like and subscribe. That really, really helps out my channel. Thanks so much. I will see you next time.